I am so grateful for you choosing to join me back here for our continuation of our live reading of Junebug, right? Now, Junebug was intended to open the door to conversations. So please, right, grab your copy and read it with your the young people in your family. And let's start bouncing some conversation around. Right? The only way sexual trauma to our children is going to end is when we choose to stop it. And we're going to stop it by talking about it, by making it, dinner table conversation, right? I love my little, I think she was 3-year-old daughter at the time. Somebody reached out for her and she said, "This is my body. Only I get to touch my body," right? At 3. And we've got grown women on this planet that say yes when they want to say no all the time, right? We have got to bring awareness into the conversation, right? And allow our children to understand that the same awareness they need to drive a car, they need to walk around the streets with humans, right? And the same awareness they need to have for members of their family. It doesn't mean you don't love them. That means you don't, you speak up when they cross lines, right? So we're going to hop right on in and continue our conversation with Junebug. Now, you know the saying, there's always someone worse off than you. And I got to witness that regularly. The number of foster children who came through my grandma's house was astounding. Never was there a time when I thought myself the only one. My personal terror doesn't even compare. The kids were always welcomed at grandma's with a hot meal and a bath. I met a brother and sister who had spent their lives in an attic with their legs chained to a post. They had never even seen silverware before. I'll never forget the looks on their faces as they were trying to figure out what to do with it all. And after a few seconds, they just dove in face first. The memory will be glued in my mind forever. People need a license to have a dog. These were human beings. There was one poor little boy who had been locked up in a closet. He hadn't had a bath in a very long time, if ever. The bath came first that day, and his poor skin came off with the grime. These are the ones whose pain was visible for the world to see. The others look just like me. You wouldn't pick them out of a group and label them as troubled. Maybe just a little different. They aren't dirty. They have polite manners. Their parents have money, or not. They look just like any other kid until you look in their eyes. Eyes that have seen and know too much. Our lives operate like a movie where the words and actions are out of sync. The world doesn't know what happens when we go home. There's secrets lurking everywhere. It makes me happy that these kids got away and found themselves in my angel's house. Hopefully, their war is over. But me, I have to go home. My body begins showing signs of all that's going on at home. I'm at the doctor's office constantly. We exhaust the hometown doctor with too many unexplainable visits. Now Mom and Grandma drive me into the city. The rides with Grandma are an adventure themselves. She has one speed, fast, and one pedal, go, right? I'm not sure how many times I hit the floorboard with her sudden stops and starts. It makes me smile on the inside. It goes on for years. Problems with my stomach, upper GI, lower GI. They're never really able to find anything specific. I've developed a rare sort of panic attack. I cough 24/7. I cough until I lose consciousness. Mom's with me this time, unfortunately. Funny how things play out. Different players, different outcomes. If Grandma had been on the other side of the door, the rest of my life could have been different. But that wasn't today. So we're back in Dr. Martin's office after a battery of tests, and he wants to discuss the results, which of course, again, show nothing specific. And he looks at me thinking and thinking. He then looks at my mother, pauses, and asks her to leave the room. Stunned, her breath catches. She gets up slowly and glances back at me, and her look says more to me than words ever could. Once alone, he sits beside me, taking the chair that had been my mother's. I feel as though he can see right through me. June, are there things going on at home, maybe with your dad, that I should know about? I concentrate real hard, trying to see how many dots I can count on the tiled floor as he speaks. Counting always helps me stay calm. My toe falls in line and begins to find a rhythm, creating space for my mind to quickly calculate the risks of answering the man's questions. Maybe he would let me go live with Grandma all the time. But what about Sam? What if he sends me home anyway? I'm sure she's out there already making up a story. If Dad finds out, he'll kill me for sure. Last time was a close one. Then what would happen to Sam? The kind doctor gently takes my chin in his hand to get my attention. June, if something's not right, you can tell me. I want to help you. Inside, I'm screaming, yes, yes, horrible things happen there. But just as quickly comes, but what if I have to go home with her? She's right out there. No, I say, everything's fine. June, you can tell me. Everything's fine, I say again. And with that, I stand, and he lets me go. Mom doesn't ask me about those few moments alone with the doctor. I guess she knows that if I walked out, I didn't talk. Always secrets. I keep having this disturbing dream. I have it almost every night. I stumble out of my bedroom in the morning, rubbing my eyes. I enter the dining room to find the house eerily quiet. And I look out the window to see the driveway is empty. I spot a note on the kitchen table and I grab it up and I read it. June, we've moved. Didn't want to wake you. Just give us a call when you get up and we'll come and get you. There's a phone number at the bottom of the page. Weird. I didn't even know we were thinking about moving. With the note still in my hand, I snag a Pop-Tart from the cabinet. I guess I'll give the number a call. But out of nowhere, there's this odd little guy sitting on a stool in front of the phone, hanging from the wall in the kitchen. He looks like a coffee bean with a really long, skinny arms. And at the end of each arm are these huge white gloved hands, like the hamburger helper guy. And every time I have the dream, I try a different tactic to get past him. But no matter how hard I fight, I can't get to the phone. The funny little guy just scoops me back with those huge hands, laughing. He's not scary. He doesn't want to hurt me. He just isn't going to let me get to the phone. I sneak off to the barn early one morning after a sleepless night filled with this persistent dream. I scurry up the ladder to the loft and I find a nice spot among the hay bales to think about my dream. Maybe it's a message and I just can't understand. I always feel so disconcerted the morning after, as if someone's trying to tell me something. Lost in thought, I'm startled by a strong, deep purr behind me. And at the highest point in the loft, I see Tigwa, all stretched out, relaxing. I'm not sure how long he's been there, but he's looking pretty comfortable. Good morning, June. It seems that you're having some trouble deciphering the message from the seer. I reiterate the dream for him. My anxiousness builds as I get to the struggle of getting to the phone. I climb up beside him and am absent-mindedly running my fingers through his fur. He has that calming effect on me. I guess they left a note, I say, pretending to smile. June, open your eyes. You need to see. No matter how hard you work or how hard you struggle, you will never reach them. It feels like there's a thick glass wall. I can see them. They can see me, but I can't touch them. You're operating from different planes. You awake, they live in the slumber. It's like going into a store where the guy at the counter is speaking Russian. No matter how loud you talk, no matter how many times you say what you want, he isn't going to understand. You don't speak the same language, June. When you're in the slumber, your focus is on what things look like, not what they are. They live in the illusion, but they are my family. The only rule is do no harm. Love and family should not hurt. Family is a group of people working towards a common goal, June, with love, working towards the highest good for all. It's not the blood running through your veins or the roof you share. You'll someday make your own family, a real family, one filled with love and respect. We all have choices to make. That's the Creator's free will, June. These are their choices. All you have control over are your words and your actions. From a place of integrity, your life and your family will grow. It's time to begin the process of letting go now. Let go of the picture of what you wish. It's just an idea. It's time now to look closely at what is. Thanksgiving's always my favorite. Not as many expectations. It's just a day for everyone to be together and eat lots of good food. Dad and I always go into Grandma's the night before to help her get the turkey stuffed and in the oven. We cook such a big bird that Grandma can't lift it by herself. Dad's fun on these occasions. He doesn't have anything to prove to Grandma. She sees right through him, and just like everyone else, he loves to be there. As the huge bird slips and slides around, laughter fills the air. I usually spend the night to help Grandma get ready. The little house is so full with the extra table in the living room, TV trays scattered around. It's so fun. We pull out the pretty china, and the grown-ups get that, though. By the time we get to the younger kids, everything's mismatched. They don't care. We always work right up to the last minute. As each family arrives, the women jump in. This Thanksgiving, we're all gathered at Grandma's as usual. It's been a good day so far. The chairs are pushed out from the table. Everyone's bellies are full. And the women begin the process of undoing the mess. The kids move outside, and the boys have a ball game going. I've got a comfy spot on the porch with a book, hoping to be lost to the cleanup. It's getting close to dusk, and I hear Dad calling for me. He's already got a good buzz on. Not a good time to argue. I'm told to gather up the boys. Uncle Vernon's going to take us to feed the animals. A feeling of dread floods my body. I tell myself there's no need to worry with all the boys along. I'm just going to have to stay mixed in. I can't let him get me off by myself. We all pile into the cab of his truck. I have Sam on my lap anyway, just in case. We stop by our place first, since it's on the way. I send Kenny to the rabbits and Sam to the dogs, and I'm off to the barn. I manage to keep my distance from Uncle Vernon. Seeing Ginger makes the worry melt away. I fill her in quickly. That always makes me feel better. She gives me a playful poke with her nose and makes me giggle. We all pile back into the truck. I tuck Sam back in the safe spot on my lap. And by the time we get to their place, I begin to let my guard down a little. Everything feels normal enough. I'm sure all my worry is nothing. It's been a while since he's tried anything. Well, I really haven't given him a chance. I've been sure to keep my distance, and he sends the boys on down to the barn and goes into the house to feed the dogs. I linger near the house, trying to keep Kenny and Sam in my sight. Uncle Vernon bought a new saddle for our next session. He's been trying to get me excited about seeing it all day. I do really want to see it, just not with him, alone. They keep their tack down in the basement, so I decide to sneak around the back and see if I can see it through the window. My curiosity replaces my better judgment. No one I know has ever had a brand new saddle before. I'm sure whoever gets to show for him gets to use it. And I turn the knob on the door and it opens easily. No one ever locks their doors around here. I sneak in and Uncle Vernon is right upstairs. I just want a quick look. I turn the light on in the tack room and there it is, brand new. I'm drinking in the smell of the new leather. My eyes scan the intricate hand tooling. It's beautiful. And as I run my hands over the stitching, my fingers trace the design etched in the leather. I'm startled by the squeak of the door behind me. I feel as if the air has suddenly been sucked from the room. A shadow falls across the floor, spurring movement. I move quickly, putting the saddle between us. Uncle Vernon stands in the doorway. She sure is a beauty. Yeah, I hear myself say, really pretty. My eyes are riveted to his hand as he turns the lock, then back to his face. His stance is unassuming, like Mr. Rogers, except for his eyes. His eyes say something different. He's rambling on with more talk about the saddle as he's walking closer. The distance between us is diminishing by the second, and my mind starts ticking through my options. I can't get out. He's locked the door to the outside, to the fresh air. If I can get past him fast enough, there's a door at the top of the stairs. He's big, but I can outrun him. I'm inching my way to the stairs. Then his hands are on me, his lips. Just as I'm about to leave my body, Tigwa appears. And with a steady glare, he roars, "It's time, June. You know what to do. You need to stay here and use what we've taught you. Remember what it feels like to be me, June. Remember the power you felt. I'm here with you, June. Become me." And with that, I close my eyes and I focus intently on Tigwa, remembering what it felt like to be the panther. I can feel his power entering my body, sending clear signals to Sam of my danger. I start fighting. My body feels lithe and agile. Sam hears my call and is going from door to door, yelling my name. Kenny's not far behind. Their cries are getting more anxious with each pound. With panther dexterity, I wiggle free and make my way to the staircase. He's close behind. My eyes are riveted on the doorknob. Hanging onto the railing, I take the steps 2 at a time. Seconds seem like minutes when I finally make my way to the door. I can feel him. The words have stopped. He seems totally unfazed by the chaos of the moment, except for the determined set of his jaw. I reach out for the knob. Terror grips me as I realize he's locked this door too. Sam's on the other side, working the lock, calling my name. I'm banging from my side, calling, "Please let me out." Suddenly, his fingers curl around my ankle. He yanks me down the length of the stairs. My face bangs a step or two, arms flailing in an attempt to catch myself. He pulls me to my feet. The lock clicks, and Sam opens the door, eyes wide. "Are you all right? Did you fall, June? It sounded like you fell." Uncle Vernon flashes his Mr. Rogers smile. "Oh, she's all right, aren't you, June? She just missed a step on her way up. Came tumbling all the way down. I tried to catch her, but didn't get there fast enough." Sam is completely unconvinced, but Vernon just smiles that same Mr. Rogers smile. He slowly lets go of my arm and brushes his hair back into place. He moves to the locked basement door and he opens it and he gives me a warning glance that makes my blood run cold. Sam takes my hand and we walk up the stairs together, out of the dark basement, out into the open air, deep breath, fresh air. On the ride back to Grandma's, I position myself in the cab next to the window, as far away from Vernon as possible. I catch a glimpse of myself in the side mirror. Tears are streaming over my scratched up chin. I look away quickly and wonder if anyone will notice. He already has a story. How am I going to go back in there? They don't know. I guess I just have to pretend like everything's fine, like nothing happened while I was locked in the basement. Keep my mask firmly in place. We just went to feed the horses. Back at the house, Sam's drawn off by the rest of the boys and the basement is quickly forgotten. Vernon grabs my arm hard and whispers in my ear, everything's fine. Nothing happened. There's nothing to tell anyway. Keep quiet. Do you hear me? His eyes locked on mine. I nodded. Who am I going to tell anyway? But I know way down deep inside that I won this time. He didn't get what he wanted. I did get free. Thank you, Tigla. My body is mine. I take a moment and let that sink in as he leaves me there alone in the street. I lock another door and I store another secret. I raise my head and summon myself to enter the movie where nothing fits together. I float around the rest of the evening as if in a daze. My last shred of trust in people, my dreams are shattered. My victory fades quickly with the realization. He was my escape. I'd allowed him possession and lord over my dreams. No more. From this moment on, I decide. I hold the cards. No one will have control over me or what I want ever again. Family photos mark this day down in history, skinned up face and all. No one notices. For once, going home is welcomed. I need to be alone, to be able to think. This changes everything. So thank you so much for joining me here for this slide read of Junebug. And I would love to hear, what this is stirring up for you and what conversations it's starting truly. Like, I would love to hear. So please drop me an email at Cherie@quantumtherapeutics.com. I would love to hear. And grab your copy of Junebug so you can give it to your favorite, the favorite young people in your family. Have a great day.